Hey guys, Quentin here. In today's video, we're going to do NA8 and how to set up a RAG system. The reason why I'm doing this video, and you've seen so many videos about like how to chat with your PDF or your documentation, basically. The issue with those videos is they don't actually explain. Like they lack a fundamental concept, which is actually the ingest of the file, which I'm going to show in this case. So RAG the right way is going to be a 3-slide, fairly easy in this case. What we're going to achieve. So by the end of the video, we're going to have actually you're going to have a RAG system best practice, best enterprise ready. We are going to use NA8 and Supabase for the win. We ingest the file, best practice method for your RAG, and that's actually exactly what I meant, and I'm going to explain it during the showcase of the blueprint. If you are looking to have the blueprint, please actually comment down below, and I'll be able to provide you the blueprint link for the system. What you need, fairly simple, an NA8 instance can be self-hosted. If you are looking for the self-hosted version, I'll put down above myself, I'll put the link of the previous video, and you need a Supabase account. The reason why we are using Supabase account is because there is an option of having a vector database, which they are using actually Postgres in this case, and it's a very, like, the whole ecosystem worked so well together, and it's actually fairly easy to set up. Here is the NA8. That's actually fairly easy as well. We're gonna run through. It's gonna be like a 15-20 minutes video together, maybe less, where I'm going to click on each module, explain how which module is doing what. I'll suggest that you try to pause the video at one point, try to build as I go along, and then that would actually enhance your NA8 experience. I'm pretty sure I have a lot of viewers coming from, or you might actually coming from make.com, which is a little simpler than an NA8 instance or blueprint. So please follow along over there. So we are using a chatbot, obviously. So we're chatting with our document, okay? And so in this case, I have a trigger. And the beauty of NA8 is that you can actually have multiple triggers. I'm going to explain the trigger down below as well. But that's actually fairly nice to have actually one blueprint, one scenario, and be able to actually have multiple triggers. So in this case, I have a trigger when a chat message is received. So if you don't know how to actually collect or put this, you can actually go click on the plus over here, and you can actually chat. So you can search actually whenever, like, what trigger you are looking for in this case. I'm then actually connecting an AI agent, and so there's nothing set, like there's no setup specific in this. The only option that I have actually enabled here is that I've toggled the chat public available, so I can access this chat by actually copying this link over here, and I can simply go ahead and here's the chat. I have actually Nathan welcoming me to the system, and I can then actually ask those questions around the documentation. We are connecting an AI agent. So again, you would actually go here. I'm going to move my head maybe on this side. You can actually have so we can have actually like tool agents. So AI agent in this case. And we are selecting the tools agent, right? That sounds complex here. Don't worry about it. I'm going to go through. So we are defined, like the prompt is defined below. And we have actually add the system message in this case. So we would actually add an option, and you can actually, like on this, you can choose actually, because I've added the system message. I can't actually add another one, but basically I'm telling him you are an helpful assistant where your actually mission is to actually answer a question coming from your documentation, and that's actually how the whole system works together. So that's again a system message, nothing actually new over here. What I'm doing is that I'm actually looking, when a chat message is received, I'm actually looking for item Johnson chat input. What you can do is you can actually, if I'm doing this, so you can actually simply click on the expression over here and then drag and drop in this case. In this case, it's actually a Johnson input, so it's not really actually it's not actually the best. It's really important to actually have it coming from the when you have actually the chat happening. And so the way you can actually do this, you can actually simply start typing, and you will see from there. So you want to call actually. So like I've actually put. Like you are calling a variable within actually NA8. That's actually how you do it. You call actually the variable with a $sign. And then I'm actually calling the node by actually pulling the parentheses. Okay. So in this case, when a chat message is received, which is this node over here, so I'm clicking on this, it's starting to be green. That's a good sign. I want to do, and I want to put a point. I'm searching for the item. So I'm pushing tab. Then over there, I'm returning the Johnson items, right? So we have session ID, action, chat input. You can see it over there. Then I'm going to do dot, and then I want to return the Johnson, and then I want to return, in this case, the chat input, right? So chat input over there. And here you have it. You have actually the chat input available over there. You can actually click on test step if you wanted to rebuild this. That's actually how the system would work. So that's the agent. Within the agent, I'm connecting actually the models, which is actually, in this case, I'm using GPT-4o Mini. So you're going to have to make your connection here, select the models, nothing actually fancy over here. And then I'm using actually a Postgres chat memory. I'm going to explain how we're going to collect those information. So I'm going to do a step back now, and I'm going to go into Supabase. I will explain how to create those Postgres. So whenever you create an account on Supabase, you're going to have a Postgres, and then we're going to have actually the vector database information we're going to retrieve. So let's actually go ahead and head over to Supabase. In this case, you see I have actually two tables. I have the chat history and I have the document. I will explain how this has been created, how the document has been created. But for now, I want you to go ahead and get access to the Postgres database, which is actually over here. You're going to go to your project settings. There is actually two information that you need. You need having access to the configuration database, and you have actually you need to get actually your information here, right? So host, the database, the user, and then the password that you set up whenever you started. Like I started a new project on Supabase, and this is actually where I asked me for a database password. This is the password you would give. So in this case, on NA8, I would actually go ahead here on the Postgres. I would actually simply click on add, and I would actually fill out this information. So host, database, username, and the password that I gave. By clicking actually on save, it will actually test the connection automatically. If everything is successful, you're going to have a green mark over here at the top. 7 minutes, like 8 minutes on the video. I'm okay. I'm good on the timing. I'm trying to be mindful of your time for whoever is actually watching. So that's actually the Postgres connection. I wanted to go ahead and add, and in this case, a vector store tools. And before I move on to the vector tools, I want to go just one comment here. So Postgres accounts, there's nothing about the session ID. That's okay. The table name, it's actually important as well. You can define the name if you want it. By default, it's going to be named NA8. You can leave it by default, but basically what's happening here is that like you can have on your database, you will actually have a database with called RAG chat history, where we can actually see from there. If I go to the table editor, I can see actually the amount of chat, like basically the extract of the chat that's been actually returned into the system. That's quite helpful if you wanted to review, for example, your chat. You want to go ahead and now connect on the tools, and you would actually search. So you see by clicking the little plus over there, you can actually go ahead and click and connect your vector store. So basically, in this case, the green box here. And if you wonder how am I doing this, those are actually called sticky note. You can actually add a sticky note over here. You can actually modify this actually markdown format. So you can actually do this over there. You can have titles, subtitles, and whatnot. So in this case, we are moving to the tools for searching the document. And so here on the vector store, there's actually not much to do. You just want to go ahead and name this like you want to do user document. So basically we're telling the system that, hey, your tools is called user document, and then it contains actually all the information, all the user document that you can check for context to answer the question, right? That's important. That's a description, and the name is important for the system to understand. So that's something to keep in mind. And now we're going to go for the last step on the Supabase, where you're going to have to create your vector store. And so you will see, you will not have this document, the table name document, like initially speaking, you will not have those two tables. Don't worry about it. The history chat will be created on your first run. The system will create the database for you automatically. There's nothing for you to do. I want you to go ahead and actually click on credential to connect. You would actually just create your credentials so the information can be found here. Again, if you go to your product settings, and if you go to API, you copy the first URL, and then you scroll down and you actually reveal the service role secret and copy this, basically your password. Once you have it done, you should have a green header at the top saying that connection is successful. And this is where I want you to go. I want you to go ahead and click on the doc, and we're going to have to do something. It's fairly easy as well. NA8 has a proper, nice documentation. And in this case, I'm on the Supabase vector store node. And here, Supabase provides a quick start setting up your vector store. If you click on this, you're going to actually arrive to this page where you have an SQL command. I want you to go ahead and click on this to copy this. And basically what we do here is that we are enabling the Postgres vector extension to work within your Supabase. We are creating actually the document table to store your document. And then we actually do all the relation that's needed for the system to work. So I want you to go ahead and copy this. Then I want you to go to Supabase, and I want to go to SQL editor. On the SQL editor, you would actually just paste this information, and you would actually click on run. I will not do this because I've already done this, but in case if you run this successfully, which I'm pretty sure you will, going back to table editor, you will actually have a document created for you. So this is the only database that you will actually see. Going back on NA8, you can then actually now go from the name, so from the list, you can actually go and choose your document table. From there, now that you have the vector database, we need to actually click on the embedding. So we still need to actually have an OpenAI embedding option. There's nothing much to configure here. I'm using the ADA 002 version. And then we want to actually have the models. Again, the models I'm using GPT-4o mini in this case. Congratulations, your initial RAG is actually being set up. That means that right now, as we speak, you are able to have a discussion, and the system will try to actually retrieve information from your RAG or from your document. The point here is the main point of the video is basically all those videos that we're saying about how to have a RAG set up are actually glancing through the main concept. The main concept is that your PDF, if it's updated, or if it's actually re-uploaded at one point, need to be deleted in order to have an efficient RAG system. Otherwise, what you are going to end up with, you are going to have a non-ready production system, I call this. The reason why I'm saying it's non-production ready is because, yes, it's working if you have one user and you keep uploading new file or updating documentation, but at one point, you will not have enough, like you will have too much document that are overlapping with each other, and that's not a good way of using actually resources. In this case, what am I doing on this NA8 flow is that because I can have multiple trigger, I'm not moving this, I'm moving this here, I'm gonna move my head over there. What I'm doing is basically I'm getting Google Drive to watch a specific folders or watch a specific file, right? When a file is created, or when a file is uploaded, or a file is updated, we are actually deleting everything according to this file ID. I'm going to go through this, but I want you to understand the picture. What we do is that I'm uploading a Google document into Google Drive. Within that document, what I have is that I'm extracting the file ID. If the file ID match, and I'm going to show you how you can see this. If I go to Documents, within the metadata, you can see that I have a file ID. I'm extracting the file ID actually from the document, and I'm actually inserting this into Supabase. And that's actually how the system will understand that, hey, I already have this file ID on my system. Let me delete all the row that's actually corresponding to this file ID, and then let me re-upload the file, okay? So we're gonna quickly go through 15 minutes. I need to speed up a little bit. So whenever the file, I'm gonna just open a Google Drive. So whenever we are watching every minute, whenever change is happening to a specific file from the list, so in this case, I'm saying, okay, I want you to watch this, like I have for the test purpose, I have actually my cold email practice or best practice information that I have that I'm actually watching over. Or here in this case, when I'm looking into a folders, whenever I'm uploading a file into a folders, I want you to ingest the file basically. So in this case, if I'm taking the second module, if I'm making a modification into my documentation, the file ID will already be ingested into the vector database on Supabase. And this is actually how the system will say, hey, I need to delete this first, and then I can re-upload everything, right? That's actually exactly what I'm doing with the set file ID. So set file ID, basically it's a manipulation. So I can actually click over here. So I can do this here maybe. Let me actually click on the module, data transformation, and you can actually have an edit field set, right, in this case, and I just rename it actually for the purpose of the video. There's actually a set file ID. What am I doing here is I'm actually passing the variable called file ID, and I'm searching for the Johnson ID. For you to do this, you can actually go ahead and click on test step. This will run this. Basically, I'm moving my head over here. This basically what's happening is that it's running the first module in this case, and now you see the Johnson ID become green. That's actually meaning that it's returning me. The output is returned, and I have actually the file ID coming directly from my my document from the folders that I'm actually watching. Right. So what I'm doing now is I'm actually then uploading the Supabase, and that's actually the main key here, the main important point here is that I'm actually passing Supabase account. I'm looking for row. I want to delete the row. Table name is actually document, so you would actually choose document over here. Select type, you would actually, instead of bin manually, you would actually pass the string. And I'm gonna put the string down below on the description. I want you to actually go ahead and pass this. So basically, in a nutshell, this is looking for metadata. So I'm looking for metadata here. I'm extracting whatever I have from the file ID, right? Anything that actually has file ID afterwards, and then I'm passing the file ID over here. So this is actually how the whole system knows that if your file ID equals the same that you already have, first of all, delete everything into your Supabase, and then you do actually you continue your scenario. So in this case, what I'm continuing is I'm downloading the file. So what I'm doing here is I want to actually download the file coming from the file ID. So I'm searching by ID, okay? And then I'm searching for, let me actually run this. I need to run this. Let me see from there. So basically what I want to do is I want to go ahead. That's actually an expression, sorry. And so I want to pass, and that's actually called file ID, right? And now I want to return actually the items, and that's it. That's actually the whole, there is actually no other option. So I want to pass the items from the file ID. Not this, right. So once I'm actually done with this, I want to extract the document. In this case, the only point that you need to do here is that you want to actually extract from the text file, and you want to extract the data, right? There's nothing much important over here. We're just actually taking, so in this case, we are actually taking, and you can also, file encoding if you want it. You can actually enable the UTF-8. You don't have to. I'm actually just going to go back to the Canva in this case. and I'm gonna delete this, but you can actually add UTF-8 if you are actually coming from a region where you have actually potentially accent, like French, for example, or Swedish or Polish. You will actually have UTF-8 encoding that actually might be important to use for your site. What you would then want to do, you would actually add a Supabase vector store, right? And so in this case, again, if I press tab, I can go here and I can type Supabase, and you can actually add the Supabase vector store. Within the vector store, there's actually not much to do. We want to actually choose a Supabase account connection. We want to insert the document from the list document, and then the query name is match document. So that's important over here. Is the query that we want to pass to Supabase for a match document. What we're doing here in this case, we are actually putting an embedding again, so the system knows how to read it. I'm using ADA002 in this case. Then I'm actually going to default, so on the document side, I'm actually loading a default data loader, right? And that's how the system looks like. That's how you're gonna have to do it. So also, again, you can always click on test step over here. That's important. When you build it along, clicking on test step in your case is actually very important. What's happening now, the system is doing the full test over here. As you see right now, right on the video, the system has actually deleted the whole, like he's doing the whole flow basically. So he's looking into the folders, has understood that, okay, my file ID is actually already existing. I'm gonna delete the whole table with this file ID option, and I'm gonna re-upload the whole document. Right, so that's important. I'm gonna pause the video and just wait for the system to return and finish. All right, now that actually the execution has finished, we have now actually within the Supabase instance, we now have actually back the ingest of the file. So in this case, my SOAP documentation available from my Google Drive. So in this case, we have Supabase vector store, where I'm actually inserting the document from a table name called actually from the list document, and I'm actually passing the match document as I mentioned previously. I have actually the embedding, the default data loader, which is actually in this case I'm passing actually Johnson data, right? Which is actually, I'm loading this from a specific data, which is coming from the Johnson data itself. And in this case, I want to, like, that's also important here, is that we need to ingest the metadata called file ID, and I'm passing the set data ID. So if I'm clicking actually in this, I can't actually run this module itself. You're just gonna have to actually map this out manually. So again, curly braces, you can just pause the video and actually see from here. Copy actually basically this. I'll put this in the description as well if you want it. But also let me know in the comment if you want to have the blueprint. I'd be happy to share this over there. And here I'm actually using the text splitter. I'm actually using the recursive character text. So I'm splitting into a chunk of 1,000. You can actually play with the, like, depending on your document. If it's a very long document, the more you chunk, the better it is. The less you chunk, sorry, the better it is. So in this case, 1,000 seems to be a sweet spot. If it's a very short document, you might want to actually split like a chunk size of 25, for example. And that's actually how the system works. So now if I go and I wanted to test the whole scenario, I can go ahead and ask here, what's the best practice for my email title, right? And now the system is actually looking into the document that it has actually ingest. And here it's actually returning me this. The best practice for your email title is to keep it concise. This is exactly what I have on my documents. But so there you have it, a RAG production ready within actually NA8. I hope this type of content is actually something that you are interested in and you would like me to do more of those. Please do not hesitate to leave a comment and show me what you would like me to build next. Until then, I'll talk to you next time. Thank you.